Hello, everybody. Welcome to Browns and Beyond, your home for Cleveland Browns content, NFL content, and other sports content. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you stay locked in with all the latest sports content. Well, boys, here we are again. Thursday night football. Here we come. Guys, how's your week going? Things going well for you guys? Dave, Steve, what's going on?
Brent, I'm doing good. The restaurant's keeping me busy, so that's always a good thing. And I love football, and I'm ready for more of it.
Absolutely. Dave, how about yourself?
Well, after nearly having a heart attack over that, we're going to get into that in a minute. But I agree with Steve. I want to second that thought. It's great to have football back. You know, you got high school football, college football. Yeah. The NFL is back. We're in full swing right now. I'm pumped, guys.
All right, guys, the first thing we're going to do is get into the Browns versus Bengals. We're going to review the game, get some thoughts on it, and we will start with Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, what are your thoughts on the Browns versus Bengals this past Sunday and a little bit of heartbreak, right, Steve?
Yes, that's right, Brent. Oh, boy. The Bengals win 17-16. Can we have a reliable kicker? I said in last week's preview, you got to make your extra points and your field goals. Come on. Rookie Andre Schmidt missed an extra point, missed a 36-yard field goal. His missing kicks lost this game. The Browns actually played a good football game. They looked good on offense. They played well on defense. They looked like a playoff team out there, with the exception of the missed kicks. I've watched this story before as a Browns fan. Back in the day, Hugh Jackson was terrible. He lost many games by the kicker, though. The extra points, the field goal. It's deja vu. Dustin Hopkins was supposed to be the starter this season with Schmidt as the competition, just to have someone in during preseason, but he couldn't make his kicks. So Schmidt is in there, and he loses the game for the Browns. I said, you got to make your kicks, because the guy on the other team's going to. Evan McPherson made his kicks.
Mr. Reliable.
He didn't miss, and you got to. So, at any rate, Kevin Stefanski has decided to keep Schmidt, at least for this week.
What?
I think we're going to call it a week-to-week basis.
How do you do that, Steve?
Well, I got to throw this in there.
Okay.
The 49ers, another NFL team, pretty solid in the last few years.
Yes.
They got rid of their kicker, Jake Moody. Brent, remember Jake Moody?
Yeah, the game with
we went
me,
to
you, and Joe.
He
Yeah.
missed the kick against the Browns.
Yeah.
So I had a feeling he'd be replaced one day, and that time has come. They signed veteran Eddie Pinheiro. Anyway, this guy could do it again. He could miss again. The Browns need to follow suit and get an experienced kicker, right, Brent?
Yeah, we've been talking about the Robbie Gould thing.
Yes.
And I believe I looked this up. He hasn't played since 2022 or 23.
Yeah.
But by the way, you saw what it did with Buffalo, right, Dave? Getting Prater.
Yeah, Prater, 41-year-old field goal came in. You know, I just have to say this. I had a bad feeling, Steve, after the missed extra point. I know it was a 36-yarder.
It's in his head.
But it's in his head.
It's in his head.
That's what
happened to York.
Kicker.
That's what happened to York.
That's all it takes.
These kickers are so streaky that way, guys.
It's a head
it gets in their head, and that's a chip shot. That's inside 40 yards. That should be automatic.
Yeah, it should be automatic.
We used to call inside 50 automatic, and you can't make inside 40.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
We're not going to get real heavily into this, but
Steve, you're rubbing off on me.
I know, right? There's a guy, Greg Zuerlein. He's a possibility. I think he played for the Rams. Riley Patterson, we've had him before. I don't know, but we're giving Schmidt a chance, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I want to get to Joe Flacco.
Please.
Man, did he have a good game.
Yeah.
Stefanski and Flacco seem to work really good together, guys. Stefanski didn't let Joe throw a bomb.
No.
But he played conservatively with dinking and dunking to try to avoid turnovers.
Yeah.
But he looked like a veteran quarterback in the NFL out there. That was my opinion. He's the best bottom-tier quarterback you could see out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 31 of 45 for 290 yards.
So you're saying, Steve, everybody in that high 20s, low 30s area, we got the best of the bottom.
We have the best of the bottom tier.
Well, that sounds about right for the Browns, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
But the point is, this guy can win games. The other guys are suspect, in my opinion. He had one touchdown pass. He did have the 2 interceptions. Both interceptions not being his fault, in my opinion.
Agreed.
They bounced out of the receiver's hands and into the hands of the Bengals. Flacco did, however, spread the ball out to many receivers, including Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman, who both had 5 catches apiece. And my boy Cedric Tillman caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah, that pass at the end didn't help too much, Steve. I don't know if you want to bring that up. But Jerry Jeudy on a certain 4th down, where was that? Where was that when we needed it?
they were also the guys. That's why I had it like just like this. They were also the guys that dropped,
Soft suckers, Steve.
They were soft suckers, Dave. I can tell you what. But on a good note, rookie Harold Faden Jr. had 7 catches, and he appears to be a top target for Flacco this season. He tied an NFL record with the most receptions for a tight end in Week 1. David Njoku, he snagged 3 catches respectfully. That's the info on our 2 tight ends. Talk just shortly about the Browns running game. It was not good. Right,
It was awful.
Dave?
It was awful.
I was shocked about the play of Jerome Ford. Ugh.
Yeah, it's bad.
He looked non-existent. He didn't get through any holes. I'm not saying that the line blocked great.
It was terrible.
But, oh gosh, we could have really used Judkins in this game.
Yes, that'll help.
Raheem Sanders did score from 1 yard away on the goal line. That was a nice highlight. But, I mean, you better punch it in for 1 yard, right?
Sure.
So, I mean, that was a nice thing. Rookie Dylan Sampson, he had a few nice runs, but he looked better catching the ball.
He did.
And he led the entire team with 8 receptions. Like I said, I can't wait for Quinshon Judkins to play, but Sampson could be a third down back or get more throws out to him in the backfield. I think you'll see a lot of that.
Yeah.
He's small, but he's fast. He had a good game. Go to Joe Burrow. He played a good first half, but struggled offensively most of the game.
The Browns have Joe Burrow's number.
They do.
Me and Brent Keaton picked Joe Burrow to be the MVP of this league. I think a lot of this comes back to Myles Garrett and our defensive line exposed that Bengals offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
they
what
did.
happens. And I think that you saw it in that fourth quarter when we had them backed up and that pass rush got to them and we were getting to them with our front four. They couldn't block us, Steve.
Oh,
they
absolutely.
couldn't block us.
The Bengals offense managed 141 total yards the whole game.
Yes.
The lowest in Zach Taylor, the guy from Mars, career as a coach. The Browns defense didn't surprise me a bit, Dave.
No.
I knew they would play for Joe Flacco. They held the Bengals to 7 yards the entire second half.
It's unbelievable.
And it's like, how do you lose putting up a stat like that? And as we know, Myles Garrett led the way, 5 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. He did what he always does against the Bengals, like you mentioned earlier, Dave. My boy Isaiah McGuire, I said in our previous podcast that I want to see him, do something on the other end. He did get 1 sack, so I would call that doing your job.
Yeah.
For on the other
Develop
side of
that
Garrett.
second pass rusher that we need. Yes.
Yep, and we need that.
Yes.
Rookie Mason Graham, he played a better second half than he did the first half, but he quietly contributed to 3 tackles. Not too bad. Rookie Carson Schlesinger, he's the guy we're all excited about, the linebacker. He led the team in tackles for the Browns with 8 combined tackles. He had a PFF grade of 90, Dave.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Yep.
And I said, I want to see him get the most tackles for the team. And he did just that. The secondary, the Browns were off to a slow start, but rebounded. Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome held Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to just 5 catches for 59 yards combined. Pretty unbelievable. In my opinion, Greg Newsome had one of his best games I've seen him play as a Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could ask too much more.
He was playing good football 2 years ago, and I think he's finally.
So you almost forget,
Yeah.
So I love to see that he can be a starter in this league and not just be the nickel back.
Yeah.
In closing, guys, the Browns played good enough to win. They were the better team in this game. I'm curious to see if they can hang with the Ravens away in week 2, guys.
Wow, well said, Steve. Great job.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, how was your Sunday?
Not so good, Brent, and I'm going to get into it right now. Well, the Browns did it. They just find ways to lose, Steve. Brent, they just find ways to lose.
Gosh, they did.
I mean, the blueprint for victory in this game was in place. I mean, they outgained the Bengals in this game by over 180 yards in total offense. They outgained it by over 180 yards.
Wow.
That's amazing.
If you look at those stats, who wins the game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they held this high-powered offense to 17 points. So we kept them in that point total to where we needed to win this game. We kept them under 20. Steve had mentioned only 7 yards. Think about that, 7 yards of total offense in the second half.
That's unbelievable.
And, I agree. To shut down Higgins and Chase was unbelievable. I think the cornerback play on this team, as much as we talk about Miles, the cornerback play in this game really, really impressed me. Because to hold the best duo of wide receivers, in my opinion, only 59 yards is unbelievable. I did want to mention Joe Flacco. He threw the ball incredibly well, 31 of 45. There was also 5 or 6 drops in there. He actually could have had better stats
You're right,
than
Steve. Those
that.
guys had drops.
Yeah.
So let's keep that in mind. One of which being at the end of the game, which led to an interception. So Joe's stats actually could have been even slightly better than the 290 yards. He could have had an over 300-yard game. And I know those picks. And by the way, there should be a stat in the NFL. He shouldn't get blamed for those picks. Those picks should go directly to Cedric Tillman. And I believe the first pick I think was on Judy. Yes,
Tillman. Yep.
Yeah, those picks should be registered under their stats, in my view. Tillman should have had that one. I know he's your boy, Steve, but he should have had that one.
He should have caught it. I'm still going to stick up for him.
I know you're still
Stand by your man, but he should have.
You're dying on that hill,
had it.
Steve.
Oh, boy.
You're dying on that hill. If I was to give an overall grade, let's just throw it out here, guys. Joe Flacco, let's give him a grade. I have a B.
Solid B, maybe a B plus.
A minus, B plus.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I thought he played
Homer,
good.
He comes
Homerville here. What's going on? I
in,
mean,
comes in with these Browns-colored glasses every week.
jeez.
I can be swayed to a B plus too, Brent. I'm more
not an A.
I'm more
And the biggest reason is didn't hit him with a deep ball.
No.
And there's nothing wrong
Right.
with that, but he didn't do it.
Right, and the
Stefanski didn't.
I
To
know.
be fair, he didn't call the play to make that.
I get
ball.
that.
And
He was trying to follow what Stefanski wanted.
And he looked a little stiff in the pocket, I think, from times with the lack of mobility, which the guy's a 40-some-year-old dude. I get it.
That's his
but,
MO.
But I like a little bit more evade the pass rush than he maybe showed. I have to get into it. Steve, you stole a lot of my thunder, but can we start taking applications for kickers? I'm done. I'm done. The bottom line is there should be a for sale by sign in this guy's front yard. Let's just get right down to it. He missed a 36-yard field goal. I mean, it's a 36-yard field goal. As a friend of mine once says, they invest in minimum wage workers. And this is what you get when you invest in minimum wage. Who said that, by the way, Bright Keaton?
I don't know. It's I don't know. Next, anyways.
I'll tell you what, that was one fired up Browns fan I saw on Sunday. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But I've talked about it. The negatives. I do want to get to some positives. Let's be perfectly honest, guys. I think there's some positives in this game, and I don't want to be one of those we're here for moral victories kind of Browns fans. I just don't. But let's get to the positives. Let's start with Harold Fannin. By the way, I heard our guy Jay Crawford say he's on his way to being the next Ozzie Newsome and a Hall of Fame tight end. Pump the brakes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pump
that's
the
a little
brake.
crazy.
Yeah.
Drinking the Kool-Aid or something.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
But you know what? Brett Keaton couldn't even pronounce his name. He's calling him Fanning.
Yeah, Dakota. Wasn't he related to Dakota, right?
Dakota Fanning.
I know.
But, 7 receptions for 63 yards in his first NFL game. I know he had the drop in the fourth quarter, and you wrote him for that, Brent. But that was a bad throw. That was a bad throw by Flacco. That could have been a better throw. It was a tough catch, but that could have been a slightly better throw. Overall, I think this guy is going to be a real weapon in this offense. Let's see those 2 tight end sets. Stefanski has shown in the past he wants to do 12. That formation, run the 2 tight end sets. I think we're going to see plenty of it this year with him and Njoku. They're basically 2 of his 3 best targets are going to be Fannin, they're going to be Njoku, and then Judy. So those are primarily the guys I expect to be seeing the targets in this offense.
I agree
going
with you.
forward.
And then maybe just a little bit of Tillman, but he's in the back of that.
A little bit of Tillman, by the way. I wanted to get to Dylan Sampson. Not a great day running the football. He only averaged 2 yards a carry. I would put more of that on run blocking by the offensive line. I do think he's an undersized back, but, he did look good catching the ball out of the backfield. Here's what I could see him as, guys. As a number 2 back who's a good pass receiving back. Kind of like your complement to Judkins, but he's also a good pass receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, even for a lower round pick, I still think that's a guy that can be on your roster and be a contributor for a few years. So chalk that up as a player I think that can be a very solid player and key contributor for the Browns going forward. Your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, Dave. I mean, this guy has wheels, man. When he does catch the ball and he's running, man, he's out. He's going.
Yeah, he's a little
Now, they try to throw him backwards because he's little. They take him and throw him instead of tackle him like you're taught,
Well, that's why I would say, Steve, I think you would agree. I don't think he's necessarily built for 20 to 25 carries as a workhorse.
He had 12
run.
carries, I believe.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see much more than that, right?
Steve, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm done with Ford. He looked
Yeah,
terrible.
Ford. Oh,
he can't find the
jeez.
hole. I said that.
You're done with Ford? I've been done with Ford since 2 years ago or whatever.
no.
My God, I've been done with him. I moved on to Chevy.
Hey, he was good at lining up as a receiver, but that was when you had Chubb and other.
You know what I heard?
attributes.
I heard he went to your family reunion and he was really good at like getting salad out of the bowl and getting baked beans out of the bowl.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
care.
Beans.
He stinks.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a fraud.
He's a broke down Ford, and he's a soft
We're
sucker.
sick of soft suckers.
I'm going to get to Carson Schlesinger too. I was really impressed. I'll say this. He seemed all over the place in the second half. He was, I thought he was great on blitzes. He was good against the run. I think he's going to be a really strong starting linebacker in this league. I think he's actually going to be a solid player for years to come. I wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe even play at a Pro Bowl caliber level.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I noticed in his highlight package at UCLA. He was really good on coming on blitzes and getting after the quarterback. So he not only can play in space a little bit, maybe in coverage, and also be good against the run, but he's also good blitzing the quarterback as well.
I agree. Some are saying that he's might be the next Clay Matthews. I think I'd say pump the brakes right on
Yes,
that.
I would pump the brakes
But
on
man,
that.
that'd be great if he could even be like the guy we had from Jacksonville, a few years back.
Well, and I said I had doubts about him when we took him because, bottom line, Steve, I thought we needed more offensive help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought the bigger need was on the offensive side of the ball. But you're going to tell me later on that JOK's career is basically over. Guess what? We need to find a linebacker, and he may be the guy for years to come.
Yes.
Mason Graham got off to a slow start. I think the Bengals really took pride in running the ball right at him that first drive. If you notice, Chase Brown.
Yeah, it looked like they weren't stopping the run at first.
Yeah, was tearing us up on the ground. He did end up with a solid 67.3 PFF run grade on defense. He had 3 tackles on 42 snaps. It's going to be interesting to see if that snap count increases in weeks to come. He was also got in on that sack in the fourth quarter on Burrow, when they were backed up in their own end and we got the pass rush moving. It'll be interesting to see, again, if his snap count moves up. I think he's going to be really solid on the run, even though I don't think he's going to be a dominant pass rusher. I think he can still help us to improve our run defense. He's going to be huge this week, by the way, facing Mr. Henry.
We need him, yeah.
I just want to say, last point, as long as our corners stay healthy, I really see Newsom. I thought he played his best game in probably 2 years, Steve.
Yes.
Especially considering when you take into consideration he had to shadow a Higgins or a Chase. That's the best football I've seen him play in a while. The defensive line has finally gotten some help with Miles. I agree. I like Isaiah McGuire. I thought Zadarius Smith a few years ago was a solid player when we had him opposite of Miles. Yeah. I think McGuire can be better than that. I think he can be a more productive.
He's younger. Yeah.
I think he can be a more productive pass rusher. And, we're going to get some reinforcements soon. Mike Hall Jr. is going to be coming back on that defensive
I'm excited
line.
for him, Dave.
So maybe that combination of Hall Jr. and Mason Graham on the D-line. I think this D-line, cornerback combination, you get Schlesinger playing well at linebacker. This could be a top 10 defense this year, guys. I really think this could be a top 10.
Yeah.
The tough part would be is if they're out on the field too much and the offense gives them no help. So we're going to have to see about that. Just overall in conclusion, I know we snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, and again, I'm not here for moral victories. We need to get some real wins. Browns fans need real wins. We don't need moral victories.
Yes, absolutely.
However, as I mentioned in my season expectations for this team, this was making for a real positive impact with this draft class. I think Andrew Berry may have scored easily his best draft class, and we have not seen Judkins yet, and we have not seen the 2 quarterbacks yet. So keep that in mind, fellas.
Yes.
This is my best chance of positive spin on the subject, guys. With that all being said, let's start finding ways to win these games.
Yeah. Well said, Dave. My thoughts on the game, I'm going to talk about the kicker situation. I've been talking about this all week after the game. Quit being cheap.
Yes.
Get the experienced kicker. I'm okay with them giving him another shot because from what I understand, and Steve, tell me if you disagree with this, I guess this guy's been nailing kicks in practice, big time. And
Bubba Ventrone said that he's been making all the kicks.
Well,
want to give him
he's
one more
very
shot.
impressive in practice.
Preseason wasn't bad.
Yes, he had a solid preseason.
Preseason wasn't bad.
But Retzer and I have talked about this. If there's multiple games where he blows kicks, it's in his head.
Yes.
And guess what?
I agree.
You got to move on. You just can't do it. So I'm going to give him the next game. Let's hope he comes through. But if not, I do want to make a move on the kicker situation. And I do think that guys that are experienced in being a kicker, even though they're older, like in the 40s, that doesn't discourage me.
No. I mean, I would like a guy with a track record. Robbie Gould is a guy I could see that would be a very solid kicker.
I'd love to have him. I heard he's like coaching high school or something, so he might not be interested. But man, if we could find a way to pay him, maybe.
Well, hey, somebody told me about minimum
Jimmy
wage.
Haslam.
But I
Jimmy
understand.
Haslam likes to pay guys.
Well,
To be fair, I also don't think it's also about being cheap.
Yeah.
I think what they're trying to do, guys, is they're trying to grow a team here.
Yes.
And they want people for multiple years. If you get some older guy like that, he's only going to be a rental for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to get something long-term.
Longevity.
Again, I understand the whole thing about keeping him and giving him a try. Let's hope, guys, that it works out and we get the kicker addressed and we can start winning games, because I do think it's going to be an issue this season. Joe Flacco, and that's my next thing I want to get into, is the Flacco situation.
Yes, please.
Retzer and I had another discussion about this before this podcast, probably many weeks ago, and that is that maybe Joe Flacco's better than we think. And here's my point. He did terrible with the Colts. He did terrible with the Jets. Him and Stefanski got a good connection.
They do.
And it does matter, the coach and the player, the combo, that does matter on a football team. And they got the good chemistry. Joe's listening to him. Steve thinks he curbed his long balls.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that maybe the combination of Stefanski and Flacco allows Flacco to flourish.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I will say this with Flacco, and I put this out there before. He's got a live arm, but guys with live arms, that ball can go one of two directions. It can go to our team, and sometimes it goes to the other team.
Yeah.
And I think there was people romanticize about the 5-game stretch, but there were some bad interceptions.
There was
stretch.
But
to be fair, there was.
But
so let's keep it real.
You're right, but there was an off season and there was a full training camp. Now we get to see the best of Flacco.
I will add, just last point, this team with a running game, I would be a lot more confident in it overall.
True.
And they give me a lot more confidence with Joe Flacco because they want to run play action.
Yeah, then you
because wasn't that a problem? You didn't have a good running back.
Yeah.
In 23
that was the injury to Chubb at the beginning of the season.
See, so he never had that.
That would have been one of the great what ifs, Steve. What if they would have had Chubb at that moment, a period of time to go with Flacco and our defense that year? That would have made things really interesting.
Very well said, Dave. So. All right, guys, we're going to get into the next topic, and that is the game of the week. We're going to recap the picks from the last episode that we did, and we will start with Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, go ahead and review your game of the week that you picked on Sunday.
All right, boys. I had the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. As you guys know, I like the Vikings, and the Vikings got a win, 27-24. I predicted the Vikings to win, and J.J. McCarthy leading the way and playing better with Coach Kevin O'Connell than the Bears' Coach Ben Johnson did with Caleb Williams. Now, I appear to be wrong from the beginning. The Bears were in control as Caleb Williams led a productive drive that ended up in a touchdown pass to Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
McCarthy,
you looked good early, by the way.
No, he played very well.
Yeah.
McCarthy had a terrible first half.
Yeah.
The Bears went into halftime leading 17-6. So, yes, I get it where people were saying, Minnesota's not going to do anything. But I'm glad I made the pick. I was proven to be right.
You were.
The second half was a different story.
I would have the fourth quarter, Steve. The third quarter did not get off to a good start with that
pick. The fourth quarter was really something.
The third quarter with that pick six was not the best, pardon me.
I said Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores is one of the best in the business.
He is.
And he proved to be just that.
Yep.
Minnesota's defense made adjustments to disrupt the Bears' offense. The Bears' offense struggled relying on short passes. You can't run it on short passes all the time. And they gave up 21 unanswered points, like you said, Dave, in the fourth quarter.
Here's the thing with
to lose the lead and lose the game.
I watched the game from start to finish. You guys, I don't know if you guys got a chance to catch it. My view on Williams is, and my biggest concern with him coming into the season is he took way too many sacks last year with 68 sacks. A lot of people put that on the offensive line, and their offensive line is not great. The other thing with Williams is there is this good throw, bad throw with him. There's no consistency. That's what I think he's lacking, is consistency. I think that there's also some good quarter, bad quarter there. And I think that that's what you saw in this game. You saw a Caleb Williams that may have looked good early, but as the game progressed, and this Vikings defense is really good. They've got the personnel and they're well coached. That being said, he's going to have to... I want to see him put together a complete game. And obviously Bears fans do. And this is on Ben Johnson. Yeah. This is the guy he's supposed to be able to develop. And it's going to be interesting to see the next few weeks. They get the Lions this week, but he looks good early, but he just cannot finish. That was just my overall concern with Williams. I don't know if you felt the same way, Steve.
Yeah, and I think Javon Hargrave got his first sack, I believe.
Yeah.
For Minnesota. Remember, he was a former Eagle.
Yes.
So that was pretty good. But I got to get to my boy J.J. McCarthy.
Please.
Brent knows I love this guy. I really wanted him to be a Brown some way or somehow, a trade, whatever you could do. The guy threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for one in the fourth quarter. I said he'd be great a match with O'Connell, and I was right. He showed me poise. He showed me leadership.
And in the clutch play, what did he do?
He
did exactly what he did at Michigan. He got it done.
He made the big throws when he needed it. I tell you what, I do think the Bears, I will say this, they had this game. They were up 17-6 to start that fourth quarter, and they're at the Vikings 24-yard line, up 11. They get a holding penalty. They miss a field goal, and that's when JJ and the offense got cooking. Mason, the back, was able to run the football. They were able to get a little bit of balance going. I thought JJ hit a deep out to Jefferson on the sideline. That was a nice throw. It was a dart.
Yeah.
And then like an in-breaking route to Jefferson for the touchdown that made it
Jefferson had a touchdown reception.
To make it 17-12 was nice. My concern about JJ was I didn't know if he could consistently make all the throws, because he was making a lot of handoffs in college, and they were running kind of that short controlled passing, a lot of dink and dunk to us. Their 2 best receivers in 23 were a slot receiver, Roman Wilson, and a tight end in Loveland. So they were running a lot of controlled stuff. And I was wondering, can he make the throws from the pocket? He proved it in the fourth.
Yeah.
He did.
So that proves to me the Minnesota Vikings, I know Detroit and Green Bay are in that division, but don't count the Vikings out. I said it in the preview. I'll say it again during the regular season. You just can't count them out, guys. So, in conclusion, meanwhile, Caleb Williams, he showed flashes of his talent, but he was outdueled by McCarthy, as was Ben Johnson compared to Kevin O'Connell. And I thought Brian Flores would make a difference, and he did. So I'm going to just say, go JJ and go Vikings. Go Vikes.
There you
go. Well said, Steve. All right, we're going to get to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, give us your game of the week recap. What do you got?
I had the game of the week. I mean, wow, what a game.
You did.
If this is a preview of an AFC playoff game or possible AFC championship game between the Ravens and Bills, gentlemen, sign me up. Mark me down, write me down, put it down, however you want to put it.
Great call, Dave.
And it appeared with 7:27 left in the fourth quarter and the Bills facing a 15-point deficit. This seemed well in hand for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry were cutting through the Bills' defense. It was Henry through left end that went 46 yards for a TD to make it 40-25, by the way. He had a huge day. 18 carries for 169 yards. Mark that down, Browns fans. You're gonna see a dose of him this week.
Wow.
I would also add Lamar was solid, 14-29, 209 yards, 2 TDs, 70 yards on the ground. The Ravens also got a nice contribution from Zay Flowers, 7 receptions, 143 yards with a touchdown. This was a tough one for the Ravens. They blew a 15-point lead twice in this one. You have to give a lot of credit to Josh Allen. Let's start there.
MVP.
And for the Bills' entire team and offense for not quitting. They just wouldn't let the Bills lose in this one. He went off on the Ravens' defense, 33 of 46. 394. He was amazing.
Wow.
I thought he was great with his running in this one. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He did a lot of damage with his legs in this one.
He's a great running quarterback. People don't really give him enough credit.
Yeah, I think it's become a bigger part of their offense. That's why I thought that they needed a running back to emerge. They finally have in James Cook, who I think is really underrated, as we talked about in the past. We'll get to him in just a second. Allen had after they took the 40-25 lead, took a nice calculated 80-yard drive, capped with what I'm going to get to is one of the big plays that turned this game. It was a touchdown pass on 4th down that flew off the outstretched hands of tight end Dawson Knox, whizzed past the face mask of Khalil Shakir, and fell into the hands, into the arms of wide receiver Keon Coleman, who had a big night. Think about it. If that doesn't happen on 4th down, they don't get this comeback because it's 40-25. They're down 15, and they get the touchdown. They make it 40-32, and it's a one-possession game. It's anybody's ball game. And he was able to make the big play on 4th down. I would also add, Josh Allen had some really good help in this one. The thing that really impressed me, as I had mentioned, it was second-year pro Keon Coleman. I talked about him in my Bills preview.
You did.
Can they give them another good receiver? And, he had a really nice day. 8 catches for 112 yards and a touchdown.
Nice.
This could be huge for Allen and the Bills' offense moving forward this season to add another weapon. I think his weapons are very underrated. The huge play that flipped this one would be the Ed Oliver forced fumble on Derrick Henry. That's the second big one in this one that really turned the game. He took the handoff from Jackson and was immediately met in the backfield by Oliver, who punched the ball out. And Terrell Bernard and the Bills were set up shop on the Ravens' 30-yard line. That led to Allen leaping over the dog pile of offensive and defensive linemen for a 1-yard touchdown. They missed the 2-point conversion at 40-38, and with 1:58 left, though, it was up to the Ravens, and they had their chance to get another first down to put this away. They punted, and they gave it back to the Bills, who were more than willing to take over. It's interesting. The Ravens might think back on that 4th and 2 and thought, with Lamar, with Derrick Henry, I don't know if you guys were watching the game at the time, maybe do you go for it in that instance? You could make the case you might have. I don't know if you guys have a thought on that, but, you have Henry, you have Lamar, but you're in your own territory, so you might be risking things right there.
Yeah.
It was interesting. He put together a great drive. He hit Josh Palmer for 25 yards. That put him into field goal range. Then he hits Coleman for 25 more. That put them inside the Ravens' 15-yard line. After that, the kicker. The kicker did it. Where have we heard that the kicker's not doing it?
The kicker made a kick? You're getting paid to kick, and he made it?
Yeah. After that,
wow.
Prater
news to me.
Yeah, did his job. 32-yard field goals. 32-yard field goal with 000. That ends it 41-40 Bills. Hear that, Browns fans? The kicker did his job. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
It'll be interesting to see how both teams respond from this one. They did leave some serious questions about both teams' defenses. I just want to mention that real quick. The Bills do need to be concerned about that run defense in particular, especially how they got gashed by Lamar and Derrick Henry. Now, that may just be you're running up against Lamar and Derrick Henry. And the Ravens' offensive line is pretty solid as well. The Ravens should be a little bit concerned, and we're going to talk about this week in the preview probably, Steve. I'm going to get into it, is the cornerback position. I thought with Humphrey, Jair Alexander they brought in, it could be a solid 1-2 punch. But,
they got him from Green Bay. Didn't Green Bay cut him and they picked him up?
Yeah, exactly. They've had Humphrey for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought they'd be a good duo at corner. And, Coleman and Allen did some serious business against those corners. They also, their offensive line did a pretty good job of neutralizing the Ravens' pass rush. Overall, gentlemen, just going to say in closing, this was a classic. Probably a good chance we're going to see these two teams down the road.
All right, boys, we're going to get into my pick, and that was the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions. I had the final score. My prediction was the Packers 40, the Lions 37. It was not a shootout, probably not a great game, but it was a solid win for the Green Bay Packers. The final score was 27-13. Big on that game was Jordan Love, 16-22, 188 yards, and a 128.6 passer rating.
Yeah.
And then Mike in the Packer defense just kind of limiting the Lions to 2 field goal until that late touchdown. You remember the late.
I was, and that was just a garbage touchdown. That really surprised me, but I think what you saw in this game is the Lions' offensive line has felt the blow of losing 2 key offensive linemen from last year. Yeah. They've also lost they're adjusting to a new offense with a new OC this year. I did not see the same explosive, Lions offense that we saw a year ago. But you know what, Brent? I don't know how you felt watching this game. To me, this was more about how good of a team the Packers are.
I think so.
Maybe not the shortcomings of the Lions.
I expected the Lions to play much better. But yeah, Green Bay must be pretty good. You guys both said so.
Yeah, I've been saying this for years about the Packers. Like even last year with LaFleur, I'm like, it's just a matter of time. They're just they're good. They got a good coach. I like Love. They're due.
Yes.
I'm sorry. They're just I like the Lions, but they had their shot. They had their window.
Yeah.
They should have beat San Fran.
Right.
They had that big lead. That's it, guys.
And then Washington at home.
Yeah.
Well, they ran into your guy Jaden
Yeah,
Daniels.
I don't know about beating Washington. That's a tough
they should have beat
But I know what you
him.
mean.
He
On
was a
paper,
rookie.
on paper.
Right,
He was
yeah.
a rookie.
And Goff
Yeah.
had a really bad day.
He
What did he
did.
have, like
Yeah,
5
Goff
picks
had
in
a
that
terrible game.
So, yeah, I will say that this shows that I think that the Packers are a pretty complete football team. And I felt that coming into the year. I picked them to
You
go to
did
the
pick
Super
them. I
Bowl.
am the conference.
Yeah, you had them in the
I like
championship
Green Bay.
game. Yeah, but I mean, they can run the ball. I love Josh Jacobs. I think Jordan Love's going to level up this year. I really like this defense. It was a top 5, top 6 defense, and they added one of the 3 or 4 best defensive players in the game, and Micah Parsons to it. So, I mean, you tell me.
Yeah.
I mean, I still think the Lions will be heard from. They have too much offensive firepower. I think Goff and these offensive weapons won't be held down for a while. To me, this game was more about the Packers than it was the shortcomings of the Lions.
Campbell's a good coach. He'll give a good motivational speech.
He'll turn them around.
They'll be okay in the future.
Well, I would add, I think that the health on defense will also make them better. They got back Hutchinson, although he wasn't a factor in this one. They'll be better there, too.
Well said. All right, guys, we're going to get into our final topic, and that is we're going to review the bold predictions that we made this past Sunday, and we will turn to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, how'd you do on your bold prediction?
Don't rub it in, Brent. I tried to ride the guy that Brent. Just rub it in, my friend. I said that Trevor Lawrence would have a week against what I thought was a very weak, inexposable, Carolina defense, because it was one of the weakest in the NFL. I said he would go over 300, 178 yards passing with a touchdown. He did have a pick in there. He wasn't awful, but it wasn't good. It just wasn't
They
good.
got the win, though, right?
They got the win, and they won by... I think they won by a couple touchdowns.
And they held Carolina to 10 points, which was also a surprise because I actually thought this would be a shootout game between Lawrence and Bryce. Bryce Young. I thought we would see some points. I didn't think we would see Buffalo-Baltimore 41-40, but I thought we'd see high 20s, maybe low 30s in this game kind of score. He looked good early. I went back and watched the highlights. He was getting the ball out quick, quick outs. He threw some crossers. They worked the screen game a little bit. ATN, their running back, had a big day running the football.
He had a huge game, right?
Yeah. So I think that they just need Lawrence to be a little bit more consistent. I thought that the Thomas, Hunter combination would be big for him at wide receiver, too. Neither one of them put up big numbers in this one. It's back to the drawing board for Lawrence and the Jags. I still have faith that this team will get better as the season moves along, but time will tell. Yeah. Time will tell. Don't rub it in there, Brent.
I have not, and I won't until I see it maybe Sunday or something. And
I'm sure you will.
And then it'll be brought up again, but not today.
Yes.
All right, Steve, let's wrap us up. Get us into the bold prediction. How did you do with your bold prediction? Go ahead.
Well, I would say someone got his bold prediction correct here.
You did well. Good job, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve, you're not one to toot your own horn, though, are you?
No, I can't help it sometimes,
All right.
Okay, Tampa Bay, I predicted rookie Emeka Egbuka to have 6 receptions and 1 touchdown pass. I was wrong on those exact numbers, but he had 4 receptions for 2 touchdowns in his rookie
That's
debut.
pretty close to being right.
Yep. Leading the way in yards receiving and scoring the game-winning 25-yard touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield with under a minute left to secure the win. His other fellow receiver, Mike Evans, had 5 catches for 551 yards. I just thought that's really something. They're sick of losing to Atlanta. This game was at Atlanta, by the way, and they got the win. They on the road, 23-20. I was definitely right in the sense of Egbuka having a big game, especially with Chris Godwin out on injury.
Well, we agreed on this on Steve. I think we had said he's going to end up being the number 2 wide receiver on that team. He's going to take.
When Godwin comes back.
He's going to.
That's what you were saying.
What I love about him is he runs good routes and he's got really good hands. That's what I noticed in watching all his games at Ohio State. He runs really good routes. He's got really good hands. He's that kind of like. He's not really a deep threat or run after the catch guy, but he's that perfect complementary receiver, I think, to Mike Evans.
And Baker likes to spread the ball out to a lot of receivers. So when Godwin comes back, I'm really excited to see I mean, I picked this team to go pretty far.
Yes, you did.
I said
think
the Super Bowl.
I think somebody said Super Bowl for Tampa Bay, didn't they?
Now, Bucky Irving didn't have a real great game,
Yeah.
but he's still solid. You know he's going to play great. I think he did have a touchdown in this game.
Right.
But at any rate, guys, Emeka Ibuka, I'm excited for him. He had a great game.
All right, well said, Steve. All right, guys, we'll get into this is it. I think this is a good show. Let's get into some final thoughts.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, guys. I mean, you know, as we said, football's back. I'm excited to move into week 2. I'm trying to still remain optimistic about the Browns and their future.
That's right.
But life as a Browns fan, this one was tough, especially with this early schedule being as daunting as it is. But again, let's look forward to week 2. I think it should be another great week of football.
Brent, I'm excited. Hey, bring on the Ravens. We're at M&T. I got to be optimistic that we're going to at least compete. How about no blowout? Can I say that? How about just
Okay.
not a blowout, Brent? Let's stick in the game. Kicker might make a kick. We'll see.
We will see. All right, guys, we are going to sign out. Take care.